I had a really great sort of mood and a ethereal and spiritual feeling. I thought worked really well and sort of reflecting the central character's internal trauma and her issues and how she's trying to work through them both through a romantic lens and a familial lens, if I'm correct, towards the ending. I thought there was a really great sort of cinematic approach to the piece. There's a great sense of intimacy and closeness that also feels constraining and claustrophobic, and I thought there were a lot of really great close-up shots that helped match the thematic intent of the piece with the visual approach and the musical approach of the piece. So I thought there was a really great sense of cohesion there, and I felt like the central character, especially with the love interest, was quite dynamic. I thought they were really good scenes together. There's a real great sense of chemistry and a very sort of sultry undercurrent that I thought worked well, not just in sort of creating a sense of sensuality, but I felt like the love scenes between them worked plot wise and sort of reflecting their approaches to being sexual, their approaches to the affection towards in the dynamic. And I thought there was a lot of ideas reflected in their performance physically that matched a lot of the emotional ideas that you see later on in the piece for our central subject. So I thought it was well done overall. I had a great sense of mood and a lot of really beautiful shots, in particular the opening and the very quiet closing with the man have passed away on the bed and her looking out through the window. I thought there were a lot of very sort of meditative approaches that I thought worked well.
I really loved getting to watch them perform because the scenes between them, the energy between them was so powerful and so palpable, and they didn't need to say a word. And this was just like one of those films where you're like, okay, we're like really seeing some chops right now, some acting chops. And just getting to watch them like embody the characters and embody the scene and be able to say so much without saying anything at all was incredible. And you could see the thoughts behind their eyes, and they were absolutely storytelling. Um, it's just so much fun to watch, and that's really what captured me with this film. I was just like, oh my god, what's next?
Physicality in acting and establishing a shot. I think this, without saying anything and establishing a story through that. It's almost like a ballet or a dance of some sort, the way, in my mind, the way that this all worked out. I think it did a really great job of storytelling without dialogue. And that's credit to the actors, but also just the way a lot of these scenes were set up, the way that it alludes to past events without saying anything, where it's usually expository. I think it's just done very, very well. A very interesting story, a lot of great shots. I think the transitions were great. I think the chemistry between the two leads was really great. And they're able to establish so much with saying so little.
It was a very intuitive film, not a lot of dialogue spoken here, so it was up to the audience, the viewers, to sort of infer a lot of what was going on. I definitely had to think during this film to figure out what was happening with our characters. There's a lot of subtlety in this with the lack of dialogue, but I enjoyed that. It was really figuring out the characters and what they were going through. It felt like the beginning and sort of the falling apart of a relationship. There was a bit of what seemed like abuse happening that may have been reflective or reminiscent of something that our main character had happened with her father. We had him appear. I really enjoyed the acting. I thought the acting was amazing, especially with no dialogue. You really had to focus on what was playing out on their faces and their actions. The lighting choices were really cool. I loved the moody lighting, and I thought the chemistry between our two characters was very interesting. I liked watching them play off of each other when there was no dialogue. I think it made the actors work a lot harder, but they did a really great job in that.
I really loved it. I thought it was a beautiful journey. I thought it moved really well. I thought that it felt really believable and the timing worked really well. I also really liked that they didn't really give you a concept of how much time had really passed, and let you just kind of take the stages of the relationship as they were, and whether those stages passed quickly or took time to build, it doesn't really matter because you still got the stages, and it just kind of let it be, which I really liked. I thought it was really beautiful, and it really allowed me to just sit with their relationship, sit with her journey, and be along for the ride.
I like how they set up the environment with the establishing shots. I like the shot composition, especially between the characters as they interact with one another. You get, the wide shots, the close-ups, and more to kind of see and feel how the characters are feeling, and you get a very in-depth look at their relationship.